It all began the day Amanda told me she was flying to Las Vegas for a long weekend with her friends. I didn't think anything of it. A girl's trip sounded completely innocent, a chance for her to unwind, relieve some stress, and create happy memories. After 8 years of marriage, trust was never something I questioned. I helped her pack, kissed her goodbye at the airport, and wished her an amazing trip, never imagining that the next few days would turn my entire world upside down. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. She texted me constantly, sending photos of her hotel room, videos from the pool, and blurry pictures of the bright neon streets. She looked happy, carefree, and full of life. Seeing her enjoy herself made me smile, but on the final night, something changed. The tone of her messages became distant. Her replies were short, vague, and strangely cold. She told me she was heading out with her friends and promised she would tell me everything when she got home. Something deep inside me felt uneasy, but I pushed the feeling aside as simple overthinking. I trusted her. I convinced myself she was just tired, but when Amanda finally walked back through our front door, I immediately sensed something was different. She hugged me, yet the embrace felt stiff and forced. Her scent had changed. It was sweeter, heavier, and completely unfamiliar. Her hair carried a trace of cologne that definitely wasn't mine. When I gently asked about her last night in Vegas, her answers sounded rehearsed, as though she had practiced every word beforehand. Every instinct I had quietly warned me that she was hiding something. Even so, I forced myself to remain calm. I wanted to believe her. More than anything, I wanted to believe in us. As the days passed, my uneasiness only grew stronger. She seemed distant, distracted, and restless. Whenever I tried to start a conversation, she brushed it aside with a smile that never reached her eyes. The woman I had known for years suddenly felt like a stranger wearing her face. Still, I kept my doubts to myself. I buried my suspicions and continued hoping I was simply imagining things. Then the truth found me. A mutual friend accidentally mentioned something during a conversation. On the surface, it sounded harmless, just a casual comment, but once I connected the pieces, everything became painfully clear. The puzzle came together slowly, and every piece hurt more than the last. Amanda hadn't only gone to Vegas to party, she had attended a swinger event. She had been with another man. The realization struck me like a punch to the chest. My heart pounded, my breathing stopped for a moment, and the room seemed to spin around me. 8 years of shared memories cracked beneath the weight of what she had done. The trust I once believed could never be broken shattered in an instant. I confronted her that very same day. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry or panic. She simply admitted everything, her face almost emotionless. "It was only one night," she said quietly, as though those words somehow made the betrayal smaller, as though our marriage could survive being treated like something disposable. But for me, that one night changed absolutely everything. Afterward, I wandered through the house for hours, replaying every moment of our marriage. I thought about every warning sign I had ignored and every reason I had given myself to trust without question. I couldn't understand how she could throw away something we had spent years building, or how she could hurt me so casually. None of it made sense. Friends and family tried their best to comfort me. Some encouraged therapy, others believed forgiveness was the answer. Many reminded me that people make mistakes, but deep inside I already knew my truth. Trust, once destroyed, cannot always be rebuilt, especially when it has been broken so carelessly. That very night, I made my final decision. I told Amanda our marriage was over. There were no screaming matches or dramatic scenes, only the quiet certainty that I deserved more than betrayal. I packed the essentials I needed, changed the locks, and immediately started the divorce process. Amanda's shock came far too late. The indifference she had shown before disappeared, replaced by fear and panic. Friends and relatives were stunned that an 8-year marriage could end so suddenly, but they hadn't lived through my pain. They hadn't experienced the exact moment when my heart broke beyond repair. During the weeks that followed, Amanda called constantly. She left voicemail after voicemail filled with apologies, tears, and desperate pleas. I never answered. Every message felt like tearing open a wound that had barely begun to heal. I refused to let her pull me back into a relationship that had already been poisoned. Walking away was one of the hardest things I had ever done. I grieved the future we had once imagined together. I mourned the trips we had planned, the home we dreamed of, and the quiet conversations we shared late at night. Letting go of those dreams was painful, but staying with someone who had betrayed my trust would have hurt even more. As time passed, the shock slowly faded and was replaced with strength. Ending the marriage wasn't a failure. It was a declaration that my self-respect mattered, that loyalty mattered, and that I would never remain where I wasn't truly valued. Little by little, I rebuilt my life. I threw myself into my work, leaned on the people who genuinely cared about me, and slowly learned how to breathe without carrying constant anger and pain. What had once felt like complete devastation gradually became clarity. Amanda's betrayal became the turning point that changed my life. It taught me the true meaning of boundaries, the real value of loyalty, and just how important self-worth truly is. I stopped seeing myself as the man who had been betrayed and began seeing myself as the man who refused to accept disrespect. Years later, when I look back on everything that happened, I no longer feel bitterness. Instead, I feel understanding. Her choices closed one chapter of my life, but they also opened the door to another, one where I move forward stronger, wiser, and determined never to settle for anything less than honesty.